we going to see any repercussions for people that censored?
Yes, we're going to fire the people who censored. We're going to fire the people who were telling Mark Zuckerberg and all the other technology companies that they needed to censor. Fire the 50 intelligence operatives who said that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. A lot of those people still have security clearances. Strip every single one of those people of their security clearances. Fire every single person. You cannot lie, take your position of public trust, and lie to the American people for political purposes. It's disgraceful, and people have to suffer consequences for it. Now, the other thing is we've got to be willing to use American soft power to promote a free speech society. So you talk about Brazil. The leader, I forget exactly which official it was within the European Union, but sent Elon this threatening letter that basically said, we're going to arrest you if you platform Donald Trump, who, by the way, is the likely next president of the United States. So what America should be saying is, if NATO wants us to continue supporting them, and NATO wants us to continue to be a good participant in this military alliance, why don't you respect American values and respect free speech? It's insane that we would support a military alliance if that military alliance isn't going to be pro-free speech. I think we can do both, but we've got to say American power comes with certain strings attached. One of those is respect free speech, especially in our European allies. Like, look, I'm not going to go to some backwoods country and tell them how to live their lives, but European countries should theoretically share American values, especially about some very basic things like free speech.
Meanwhile,
if the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm.
I think in a normal country, we would say, hold on a second, maybe we need to have a different set of regulations for social media platforms now they're this big.
We lose total control.
It would help if we could regulate social media, because one of the biggest offenders is DC and Congress have not been able to do one thing in regard to the rogue corporations of social media.
We lose total control.
and then moves them through YouTube videos, through podcasts, moves them from that annoyance all the way slowly to a full-blown fascist politic. We don't have the equivalent of Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction.
We lose total control.
Go yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple. Just like dominoes, one by one, they'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people. They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health. The censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately.
I'm tired of being censored. I'm tired of telling me what I can't say and suppressing a video or demonetizing this or demonetizing that because, oh my, someone's Fifi's got all hurt. Trump's coming in and like Tucker Carlson said, Daddy is coming home and he's pissed as hell. Listen to him.
First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens. I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech as mis- or disinformation. And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship, directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health, Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are. Second, I will order the Department of Justice to investigate all parties involved in the new online censorship regime, which is absolutely destructive and terrible, and to aggressively prosecute any and all crimes identified. These include possible violations of federal civil rights law, campaign finance laws, federal election law, securities law, and antitrust laws, the Hatch Act, and a host of other potential criminal, civil, regulatory, and constitutional offenses.
Wow. And he's not even half done in terms of how he's going to come after all these people who have been incessant about shutting you up and shutting me up. It's about to be a whole new day come January. It's amazing already. He's only been elected for 3 days, and things are getting blown up all over the place. Let's continue.
To assist in these efforts, I am urging House Republicans to immediately send preservation letters, and we have to do this right now, to the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and every Silicon Valley tech giant, ordering them not to destroy evidence of censorship.
All right, so letter preservation. You've heard the saying before when people say, govern yourself accordingly and preserve your documents. Meaning, I'm putting you on notice as the president-elect, soon to be the president, and we need to see everything, all the communications you've had with Lear, with Zuckerberg. We want to see it all. We want to see who was involved in doing all of this stuff to America, what media outlets were involved, which government officials were involved. Can you see where this could go?
37 hours after he took the oath of office, President Biden's White House opened up a portal for the FBI to begin to have access to social media posts on all the different social media sites. And the FBI then invited in the CIA, the DHS, the IRS, and CISA. CISA is this new agency that is the center of the censorship industrial complex that is in charge of making sure Americans don't hear things that their government doesn't want them to hear. And those agencies and other agencies, including the health agencies like CDC, were given access to go into the social media sites and change posts and slow walk things and shadow ban posts. That it was part of that effort. They removed my Instagram account. I had almost 1 million followers. They say it was for misinformation, but they could not point to a single post that I ever made that was factually erroneous. And they actually, Facebook pushed back in the email chain. You can see Facebook pushing back at the White House and saying, well, wait a minute, he's not, this isn't misinformation. This is not factually erroneous. What they're saying is actually true. And they had to invent a new word, which is called malinformation, which is information that is factually true, but nevertheless inconvenient for the government. And that became disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation. That's what that is. So everybody, and
isn't that illegal? That's illegal.
Yeah, and the emails show that Facebook, the people said they were saying about the White House in their private emails with each other, these people are cynical, terrible people, and they knew what they were doing was breaking the law. But they were under tremendous pressure. I mean, Facebook has all these deals with the government and, as do all the media companies with the intelligence agencies and elsewhere. Plus, the White House was overtly telling them that they were going to, if they didn't comply, that their Section 230 immunity was in jeopardy.
The entirety of the censorship, woke BS is about to get blown up. I mean, just throw a hand grenade into it. I don't know who's involved, but I'd want to get a chair before the music stops. I'm pretty sure you people here, you know who I'm talking about, need to get belly up with him and say, okay, yeah, they made us do it. They made us shut up Barry and all these other people. They made us do it. Okay, Give us some names. We want to know who did it, how did they do it, when did they do it, how often, what'd you get paid. I want to know it all. And it all needs to be completely transparent. Remember, this is the third day since he's been elected, and already you've got people scurrying, looking for private jets, trying to get the hell out of Dodge.
Third, upon my inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk revising Section 230 to get big online platforms out of censorship business. From now on, digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination.
He's talking to y'all up there. Ooh, this is about to get good.
We should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content such as child exploitation and promoting terrorism, while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful speech. Fourth,
he's only on number 4 now. I don't know if you caught up with all this stuff. And I saw this video and I just went, oh my God. Now, some of you may not be in content creation, so you're like, well, how does this affect us? Well, it affects you because you actually get to hear what they've been trying to hide from you for years. Those of you who may have run afoul of Mark Zuckerberg or the people here or elsewhere, pre-Elon Musk Twitter, all this stuff now is going to be chopped down, eviscerated. These networks are going to be laid bare and have to explain exactly why, who, how much. And I don't think these people want the full force of the American government coming in with a microscope into their business. That magnifying glass is going to find a lot of dirt. It is going to be easier for you to acquiesce than it is to fight an investigation. This just happened today. It started populating. I can't even imagine where it goes from here, how these people are going to react.
Need to break up the entire toxic censorship industry that has arisen under the false guise of tackling so-called mis- and disinformation. The federal government should immediately stop funding all nonprofits and academic programs that support this authoritarian project. If any U.S. university is discovered to have engaged in censorship activities or election interferences in the past, such as flagging social media content for removal of blacklisting, those universities should lose federal research dollars and federal student loan support for a period of 5 years and maybe more.
Hey, Harvard. Hey, MIT. Hey, Berkeley. He's talking to y'all. You're going to have to do some serious splaining right now. Daddy's coming home and he's ready to take out the belt. Oh, good Lord.
We should also enact new laws laying out clear criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to do an end run around the Constitution and deprive Americans of their First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. In other words, deprive them of their vote. And once you lose those elections, and once you lose your borders like we have, you no longer have a country. Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials.
Okay. You're sit down, get a muffin, get a Diet Coke, because this one right here is basically to stick a dagger into the heart of the deep state. What he's about to tell you right now, there is sphincters tighten up all over the Beltway. Listen to this one.
There should be a 7-year cooling off period before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data.
Named off all those alphabets and said, no. For 7 years, after you've served in the United States government, you're not going to be able to work at any of these companies. Any company that has compiled data on a United States citizen, you can't go work for. If you think about it, I don't know when this video was actually cut and how long it sat on his website where nobody really viewed it. But I'm sure some pretty important people have seen this video already. They've seen it a year ago. Maybe that was what was behind the craziness in the media. Maybe that's what was behind what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. In 2 days, yesterday, during the middle of our show or end of our show, we heard what his basically, I won't call it a threat, his promise to take down the deep state. And now this one that surfaced today and everybody's sharing is his promise to do away with censorship at all levels. Media, platforms, government. This is everything they built their New World Order on. Being able to shut you up, being able to deplatform you, being able to demonetize you so you couldn't make a living. Because they deemed what you said not to be part of their best interest or somebody's best interest.
It's so tough. Everybody's wrestling with that right now. And I think the dislike of and anguish over social media is just growing and growing and growing. And it's part of our problem, particularly in democracies, in terms of building consensus around any issue. It's really hard to govern today. You can't, there's no, the referees we used to have to determine what's a fact and what isn't a fact are kind of, been eviscerated to a certain degree. And people go, and that people self-select where they go for their news or for their information. And then you just get into a vicious cycle. So it's really, really hard, much harder to build consensus today than at any time in the 45, 50 years I've been involved in this. And there's a lot of discussion now about how you curb those entities in order to guarantee that you're going to have, some accountability on facts, et cetera. But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence. So what we need is to win the ground, win the right to govern by hopefully having, winning enough votes that you're free to be able to implement change. Now, obviously, there are some people in our country who are prepared to implement change in other ways, and that's really.
And now, here it is on the third day after this man's been elected, and he's laying down some heavy law. Actually, he laid it down before, but now people are going, hey, are you still doing this? Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I told you I was doing it. I posted it. I told you this is where I was headed. Now this is what's going to happen.
Fifth, the time has finally come for Congress to pass a digital Bill of Rights. This should include a right to digital due process. In other words, government officials should need a court order to take down online content, not send information requests such as the FBI was sending to Twitter. Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal.
I'm laughing because I know what these people think. I know how they operate. I've been subject. You know I haven't been able to say certain words that are part of our vocabulary. There's no way you shouldn't be able to call somebody what they are and have to use some euphemism like, newcomer. You should not have to use a different word for the big A when it's legal and it's discussed every single day, but I can't say the word for baby removal. I should be able to say legal things. I'm not breaking the law. It's not like I said, I'm not even going to conjecture there because that could get me in trouble. But if it's legal and it's part of our vocabulary, why the hell should I not be able to say what I feel because someone else doesn't want me to say it? Not because it's not legal to say it. I should be able to, however I want, to confront, to deny, to complain, to give my opinion about baby removal. If it was such a fantastic thing that everybody wanted, which obviously they don't, you just got your ass waxed in the election, then why would you stop people from talking about it? Why would you be telling people they can't talk about the newcomers when we see the crime that they're doing, the actual documented crime? And they allow the media to get on television every single day and scream at the top of their lungs every lie they possibly can say. The propaganda campaign that those people put out are actually hurting people. But we're the ones they needed to shut up. We're the ones that they didn't want talking because they couldn't control us any other way. And Trump found out firsthand, and I'm pretty sure Elon had a big part of putting this entire video and strategy together. Remember, Elon knows where the bodies are buried. Remember this thing called the Twitter files that they tried to say wasn't real? Oh no, it was real. It was 100% real. But you weren't allowed to discuss what happened with the Twitter files. And God forbid we discuss what happened with the Jabademic. Oh no, you can't talk about the Jabademic. That is just completely off limits. Do not even discuss that. This man's tearing that entire temple down to the ground. This man is just making it rubble at this point. You gotta believe in his mind, this is why these people were so afraid, he's gonna go on a revenge tour. Well, that's not revenge, that's just making things right. Don't call it revenge, call it setting the table correctly. Putting it on an even keel so that we can actually talk and be a part of, a conversation about what's happening in everyday life. Why shouldn't we be talking about that little doctor who looks like an elf? Can't even say his name, by the way. If you say his name, you get triggered, but the bots come in. They'll say, what are you saying about him? What are you saying? And you risk having things shut down because you can't even talk about him. We knew this had to change. Everybody who created content knew it had to change. And now it appears it's going to change.
In addition, all users over the age of 18 should have the right to opt out of content moderation and curation entirely and receive an unmanipulated stream of information.
Okay, so what he's saying there is, I assume you're an adult. I'm an adult. So you should have the opportunity to say, click a button and say, yeah, I'd like to hear real news. Basically, that's what he's saying. You don't need filters. You don't need to have somebody say baby removal. You can actually say the word. You're an adult. You're okay hearing it. We're not 12. We're talking about real issues that affect Americans. And our opinions matter. Our opinions matter to ourselves, and our opinions matter to people who want to hear them, whether or not they agree with them or not. See, that's a problem that this country has gotten at this point, is not only do I not want your opinion, I don't want anyone else to hear your opinion. Of course, unless you're Joy Reid or Rachel Maddow or some of those nuts. They have systematically turned the spigot off of certain people and said, you can't play. They chased Dan Bongino over to Rumble. He's doing well, but why was he chased off to begin with? Why doesn't he have the opportunity to speak here? And so on and so on. Why does Alex Jones not have the right to speak here? Oh, because he said some things that hurt some people's feelings. I'm going to opt in. I want to hear what he has to say. Can I do that? No, he just can't even come here. Oh. at all? Nope. You can't even hear what the man has to say. You can't hear it. If you wanted to laugh at him, you can't hear it. You don't have the mental capacity to discern whether something is real, entertainment, or just flat out, quote, disinformation. You don't have that ability, says these people here and Mark Zuckerberg. And Trump saying adults have that ability, and we're going to let them decide what they want to read, what they want to consume, just like we always did.
The fight for free speech is a matter of victory or death for America and for the survival of Western civilization itself. When I am president, this whole rotten system of censorship and information control will be ripped out of the system at large. There won't be anything left. By restoring free speech, we will begin to reclaim our democracy and save our nation. Thank you, and God bless America.
We're going to rip it apart, and there won't be anything left. His words. Didn't say I'm going to have some sort of diplomacy and we'll talk about it. Let's see if we can't figure out, some common ground with your censorship. I'm going to rip it apart, and there won't be anything left. Ooh, thank God I voted for this guy.